I, male 55, just pulled the pin on my retirement. I put in 33 years of work and I'm done. I bought property in South America 12 years ago and have been building our retirement home there. I have dual citizenship, so I can own property without it being a hassle. The house was designed perfectly for us. We have a pool, a small house for the caretaker gardener, and 34 different fruit trees. The bathroom is up to North American standards, and the shower has grab bars and stuff already built in for when I'm old. Everything is on one level, so there are no stairs. My wife helped by making suggestions for the house's design and by decorating it. We've been vacationing there for 8 years and renting it out when we aren't there for some extra money. We've hosted friends and family there, both with us there and on our own. My wife has now decided that she doesn't want to live there for 7 months of the year. We have grandkids now and she wants to be more involved in their lives. I love my grandkids and my parents who also live up there, but I'm done with winter. If I never see snow again, it'll be too soon. The house has guest rooms and flights are cheap. If they want to see me in the winter, they're all welcome to come down. Plus, I'll be back for 5 months in the summer to do some contract work. I'll see everyone then. My wife said she didn't want to go down this winter, and that is absolutely her right. I booked my flight for September and she asked me about the expense on the credit card. I said I was leaving for the winter like I told everyone I was planning to do. This was when she said that she didn't want to go this winter meant she didn't want us to go this winter. I said that I was going, that I would see her in the spring unless she changed her mind and came down. Now she, my parents, and my kids are bugging me about leaving her alone for the winter. This is 100% her choice. Edit, she's known since we started dating 35 years ago that this was my plan. She went with me to purchase the land. She helped me work out the budget for the building. She bought all the furniture and decorations for the house. She planned the landscaping. Please explain to me how I could better have communicated to her that I was planning on retiring down there. OP, her priority changed. Yours stayed the same. Not the idiot. You can't force her to live there, but she can't force you to live where you don't like. This will be a problem for the rest of your life. She has grandbabies, and many grandparents don't want to miss out on the growth and fun of grandbabies. Married people make compromises for each other. There is a middle ground where they spend 3 of the worst months in the south together, and then OP heads back alone for a couple of weeks here and there throughout the year. People are allowed to change their minds about where they want to live long term. Your wife isn't an idiot because she became more attached to her grandkids than she anticipated. Yeesh. Wait, did she know he was going to retire 11 years early? Are you even retired if you're still coming back to work 5 months a year? Also, buying a ticket to South America and not telling your wife until she sees it on a credit card statement is generally considered to be bad communication. My dad pulled this move with the same reasoning. Flights are cheap, come visit. I haven't seen him in 6 years. He hasn't met our granddaughter. You're retired and have loads of free time. They don't. Expecting your family to spend what little free time they have carting their kids to South America so you can still be present in their lives is beyond selfish. If you're okay with choosing yourself over your family, then go for it. That's your prerogative. But in my opinion, it makes you the idiot. You chose to have a family. Now you're choosing to ditch them unless they spend the effort to come to you. Enjoy retirement. It might cost you your family. Yeah, things change, dude. 35 years ago, I bet you didn't think grandkids would anchor your wife, but here you are. My mom had planned a big move from Tennessee to Illinois. I bought a house and cars and moved all this stuff, ready to move in until my daughter was born. Now she's selling the house in Tennessee as she can't imagine living without being involved in her life. Hopefully, snowbirding won't crash your relationship. Best of luck. My 22 female girlfriend, 22, was invited to a high school friend's 22 female wedding. The couple asked for cash wedding gifts only, so most guests would pay $200, while some could pay $100, 10 available spots. My girlfriend asked the bride if there was room for a +1, and the bride said she could bring me if I paid $200 for my attendance, not as a wedding gift. My girlfriend is upset with me because she went through the trouble of asking the bride if it was possible and thought I'd be happy with this. I didn't ask for my girlfriend to do this. My girlfriend initially told me I was invited because she assumed she would get a +1, but I wasn't invited and she felt bad about it. I don't blame her or the couple because weddings are expensive. It would cost the couple $200 per person for the wedding. The bride isn't happy with me because my girlfriend told her I wanted to attend and thought it was cheap of me only to back out now that I had to pay to attend. My girlfriend says there's no difference between being invited to a wedding and giving a $200 wedding gift like everyone else and being invited if I pay for my seat up front. Especially since I would have given the same amount as a wedding gift if I was invited initially, and the end result would be the same. We give a total of $400. To me, it feels like an entrance fee that only I have to pay. Am I the idiot for not wanting to attend the wedding because I was asked to pay? Edit, she didn't get a +1 because the couple can't afford to have any +1s at their wedding. My girlfriend is also willing to pay the $200, but I'm not comfortable with that either because she doesn't have an income currently. The bride insists that my girlfriend goes because she previously decided not to attend. My girlfriend didn't want to go alone, especially since she'll have to crash at my place since it's far for her. The bride told her it was rude not to attend, so my girlfriend feels more obligated to go now. Not the idiot, I wouldn't go to a wedding where the gift amount was dictated. This is wild, getting people to pay to attend your wedding and then demanding a cash gift. Wow, people are freaking outrageous and entitled. If you can't afford to get married, then don't. I'll be damned if I pay to attend a wedding. It's not a gift if you have to instruct me on what to give. What if their close relative couldn't afford to pay $100 or $200 to attend? So sorry, Grandma, but if you can't pay $100, you can't attend. Also, the bride is upset that you cheaped out. Are you sure they pay $200 per guest? Because this sounds like it might be $100 and she was hoping to score another $100 and is upset you're not complying with her plan. Also, I feel like they would have absolutely expected a wedding gift from you as well, on top of the $200 attendance fee. You're not the one choosing to have an expensive wedding when there are plenty of other options that don't break the bank to the point you have to worry about money taken from your party guests. Why should a guest have to make up the cost of your wedding? As a female, I would never, and I find it gross. Also, most normal weddings always have a +1. Tell your girlfriend not to feel bad. Most men who don't personally know the bride and groom are only attending for the food and alcohol anyways. She can take you to a restaurant for a quarter of the price later. I'm 34 male, a dad of 4. My babies are a young male teen, a female tween, a male tween and a male pre-tween. Our youngest has some significant sensory issues and anger management issues, which he's being evaluated for. Important info for context. He's already being diagnosed with ODD, but this goes beyond that. My sister, 34, my twin, has a tween daughter, Jane, who is a spoiled rotten kid, as she's an only child and my sister puts a whole new meaning to gentle parenting. As in, she doesn't parent because the kid is just expressing herself and she doesn't want to parent out her personality, which sucks. I love my niece to the depth of my being, but I do not like her or my sister. I don't know how else to put it. On Saturday, we had a memorial of life service for my uncle who passed away months ago. It was held at my brother's house. There were probably about 12 kids there. We got 40 of those 60-pack water balloon things and let the kids go ham. It was a huge ordeal. However, at some point, my youngest decided the water was too much for him to handle, said he was done playing, and came to sit by me and dry off. He was being great, which I was grateful for because he has a lot of bad days. But my niece kept coming up and throwing more water balloons at him after she was asked to stop. It was causing him to spiral, and he started raging out basically, and my sister was telling me to calm my kid down and tell him to stop being a baby. She didn't want to get wet, so every single time he went to throw one back, she would start screaming, telling him to stop. At that point, my sister got involved and yelled at my son saying, "Don't you dare, she said not to get her wet because she's wearing white and it'll be see-through." I told her to tell her daughter to stop throwing water balloons at my son because he'd already said to stop and she said, "He's already wet." So basically my niece was perfectly fine to throw crap at my kid, who had asked her to stop repeatedly, but they weren't letting him defend himself. The last time my niece came up to him, I spoke up and said, "Don't even think about it." He said no. She didn't listen and threw it anyways, so I grabbed the hose beside me and drenched her for a solid 30 seconds. She immediately starts crying and covering herself and goes to hang out in my sister's car. My sister started scolding me, stating that I knew it was going to make her see-through and decided to be a creep anyway. My mom and father kicked her out for that comment. I'm getting texts from my brother-in-law stating that I'm a pig, that what I did was uncalled for and abusive, and that I would never be allowed around my niece again because I'm inappropriate. Edit, the dress wasn't even all white. It had a white strip along her stomach. That's the only spot of white that was on her. The rest of the dress was dark. Not the idiot, you should have soaked your stupid sister as well. Gentle parenting, my butt. She'd never have said those awful things about your son if she were truly gentle parenting. I had a niece that would always attack my son. She'd hit, bite, scratch. My son is very gentle and doesn't like violence. Well, one day after multiple bite attacks, I told her dad, everything she does to him, I'm going to do to you for the rest of the night. You should stop drinking and get ready. Funny how they started seeing the error in her ways after that. Oh look, parent your own child or someone will parent it for you in the wild. Your child, the younger one in this situation, got hit with water balloons after being asked not to multiple times. But that was okay for Sister Dearest. It sounds like your brat of a sister is raising a brat of a daughter. Remember that just because she's your twin doesn't mean you have to expose your children to her or her poor parenting. OP, you probably want to limit your exposure to people who would, without a second thought, absolutely annihilate your reputation. Those accusations are not ones to mess with, and you should never allow yourself to be in a situation that these idiots could use against you again. The first time someone accuses you of inappropriateness where there was none is the last time that person should have the opportunity to do so. Reputations are shattered with less and often aren't rebuilt in this lifetime. My wife is 34 weeks pregnant, and throughout this whole pregnancy, her two consistent cravings are fresh mango and strawberries. I always keep them stocked in the fridge because I know she will 100% get up in the middle of the night and go straight to the fridge looking for these items. The amount of joy she gets from these two pleasures is insane. She generally is good-natured anyhow, but seeing that I stock the fridge with these two snacks and showing how much I care makes her love me even more. Her words. My sister, 46, asked to stay with us for a few weeks because she and her husband were on the rocks and she had nowhere else to go. I asked my wife about it and she said it was fine as long as they were gone by the time she had the baby, which I agree with. I told my sister and she said she would be gone before then. We weren't even charging her rent or anything. My only stipulation was that they buy all their own food because my wife and I tend to eat rather healthily and it gets expensive quickly, so we can't cook meals together. She agreed to the terms. It didn't even take 3 days for my sister and my niece, tween, to eat every bit of fruit I'd stocked in the fridge for my wife. The first time around, I told them to simply not touch the fruit. My sister apologized and that was the end of it. However, a few more days go by and I notice again that the fruit is gone. I asked my sister about it and she said it must have been my niece and she would speak to her. But yesterday, I came home after an appointment with my wife, ultrasound, and there's my sister dipping the strawberries into a case of sugar and eating them while scrolling her phone. My wife immediately looked defeated and said, "I'm just going to lay down." She looked extremely hurt. My sister says, "I only had 2, and tries defending her actions, and I tell her at this point that she needs to leave. She started scolding me. "You're kicking me and your niece out over fruit? Are you serious?" So I said yes, and told her that she had an hour to get her stuff and leave. I'm being told by several people that I overreacted. My sister needed me during her hard time, and I proved that family means nothing over food. Am I the idiot? For context, she gets food stamps, so she has EBT to get her own fruit if she so chooses. She just never did. Not the idiot, you're not kicking her out over fruit. You're kicking her out because she has no respect for you, your wife, or your very reasonable and clearly stated boundaries. There are few things I hate more than when people try to trivialize your reasonable boundaries with comments like that. It's not about the fruit. It's about the fact that you set one boundary and they willfully and repeatedly disrespected, disregarded, and violated it. I can see why your sister is having problems with her husband. She sounds incredibly immature, especially for being in her 40s. Those people that are saying you're overreacting, thank them for offering to take your sister in. Let it get awkward. Sister and niece have been caught twice before stealing food. This was the 3rd time. They didn't reimburse OP for what they stole, nor did they replace what they stole. So, time for some consequences. I, female 28, have 2 younger siblings, male 24, female young teen. My brother is married and has a toddler daughter. My parents and sister live in the same city as my brother. I live in a different city a few hours away. In the last few months, my sister has complained that my brother invites her to his family outings only to use her as a babysitter for our niece. He'd ask her to restaurants or parks and make her watch the child while he and sister-in-law enjoyed themselves. She decided to stop going out with them, and our parents supported her, even talking to my brother about it. Despite their talk, my brother didn't take it seriously. He wanted my sister to join a road trip. It was like 3 days, 2 nights kind of thing, leaving on a Sunday and coming back on Tuesday. My sister didn't want to go, and my parents said no anyway because she would miss 2 school days. Keep in mind, our side of the world, it's not summer and kids are in school here. Last Sunday, when our parents were at church, my brother showed up at our house and told my sister to get in the car because they were going on a road trip. She said she didn't want to go, but he insisted, and they both, sister-in-law and brother, made her get in the car. When she was in the car, my sister texted me and told me the whole thing. She said she'd texted my parents too, but she didn't think they were reading her messages soon because they were in the Sunday service. So I called my brother. I reminded him that our parents had said no and my sister didn't want to go anyway, so he better turn that car and drop my sister back home. He dismissed me, claiming I was not the boss of him. I asked him if he knew that what he did was kidnapping, and I warned him that I would call the police if he didn't return my sister home right away. He laughed it off and hung up, so I called the police. The police found them quickly since they haven't yet left the city. Our parents didn't press charges and the whole thing was dropped quite easily and quickly. My parents were furious at my brother, of course, but they were divided about what I did. My mom is angry at me for involving the police. She agrees my brother was wrong and that I had limited options since I'm in a different city, but she thinks I went too far, especially because my toddler niece was in the car too and it must have been a scary situation for her. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and your mom needs to bloody well open her eyes. Your brother is using your sister, going so far as to take her away. And she thinks calling the cops was bad? Heck, I would have pressed charges if my son pulled a stunt like that. No more unsupervised visits with the sister, and your dad needs to talk some sense into your mom. Is your brother her golden child? Yeah, mom's reaction is bizarro. A toddler is not going to register a car being stopped by the police. Her young teen sister must have been terrified the entire time. Tell your sister that it's okay for her to call 911 too. And the next time he leaves his kid with her, she could call the police for the abandonment of a child. A worthwhile learning experience for your brother. Not everyone in his life will enable and excuse him like your mother.